If you own a construction company or know somebody that does, here are the top 5 mistakes to avoid when you're building a website. Number 1, don't make it slow. No one has time to wait for your big old slow website to load. Number 2, don't use this internal jargon language like we do hardscaping with 3-ply roofing and like no one understands it. Use common customer language. Number 3, don't have too little information about your process. It's like, contact us. We'll get you started. Wait, what? Are we going out for coffee? Are we going to a virtual meet? Like, tell me more. Tell people enough information. And number 4, make sure that you have local trust symbols. Are you part of a local chamber of commerce, Better Business Bureau? Like, get people knowing that you're locally trusted through images, badges, references from people trusted in your community. And number 5, business owners, talk about yourself. Who owns this company? How did it start? Why are you passionate about this? Okay, make sure that you put yourself out there because people will connect with you. So let's walk through those, okay? A slow website, when you're building a construction company, we understand that, when you're building a construction company website for your construction company, customers understand that there is a process, right? There's a process of filing and getting certificates and getting permissions and getting zoning approval. Everyone understands the process takes long. Okay, but if your website takes long to load, they're gone, all right? They're on their mobile phones checking you out because their neighbor said, oh, I just did my 2-story garage with so-and-so, okay? Yeah, they might be on their laptops at their work checking you out as well, or home at night checking you out. But if that thing loads slow because you took iPhone photos that are like 5 and 10 megabytes and you threw them up on your website, or sent them to your developer and your developer didn't care about how big they were and it's slow, or you put native video on your website, which is like, instead of linking to YouTube, you're putting this big old like MP4 video on your background website to show the cool drone shots. Guys, that's not going to work, okay? That's a huge mistake, is having a slow website. Google cares about speed. If you don't pass Google's speed test, you won't even be ranked. You're not going to rank organically. You're not going to be loved by Google. So come on, man, you got to get fast. Don't make the mistake of being a slow website, okay? Number 2, don't use internal language that customers don't understand, okay? So an example would be saying, we need to get the permit processed for 501-12 to make sure that you're approved for a flagged lot, what do they call it? Large stormwater management plan approval. The average homeowner is going to read that and like, wait, what? You could say, we'll make sure we go through all the correct permitting processes and zoning approvals to get your house ready to build on the timeline we promise. Don't talk all this internal jargony, confusing language on your website, okay? Make sure that you're not going into too much detail about we do 3-ply rubber roofing with a lifetime workmanship warranty guarantee. Okay. You could say, we'll make sure that your roof will be covered for its lifetime with any damages or repairs needed as part of our design process, okay? Try and stay in consumer-oriented language on your website, because the people on your website that are trying to validate that you're a great fit aren't going to be also having you on the other end of a phone talking through questions they might have. If they get confused, they tend to leave. So try and keep it more like plain Jane. There are certainly times and places on your website, maybe in FAQ sections, that you can really dive into details. But those are usually things that you present to customers after a contract or a sale that you then are explaining details on. Number 3, don't skimp on the information about your process, okay? So if people are trying to validate you and vet you to work on their construction company or construction project, like a multi-unit they want to develop in this area of downtown, or maybe it's a 2-story garage with an apartment on top, or maybe it's turning my rancher into a story and a half, whatever those things are, that you don't just want to see, contact us and let's get the job done, okay? It's like late at night or early in the morning, or they're on their lunch break and they're trying to validate you, maybe scrolling on their phone. You want to have a little more information that the first step of our process is, let's sit down and establish a budget and a reasonable timeline for the product to see if it fits within the other projects we have going on. Then we'll make sure that the plans and designs with unlimited reviews or revisions rather, are approved by you before we send to permitting and zoning approval. Third step of our process will be to gather our materials and clear the land, and then we'll start on our building project. Like, give people enough to know that it's not just like a virtual meet, sign a contract virtually, and then we're starting, guys. You better be good. Like, you got to give a little more information about your process. And sometimes construction companies can tend to oversimplify, where it's like contact, get started, you're done. Okay. So in the right spot on your website, usually on your specific service landing pages, you want to describe, the custom garage solution or the build your house on its own foundation, on its own plot of land process. Okay. Don't skimp. Make sure you communicate guarantees, that you have that would set you apart from other construction companies. Also, a fourth mistake is there's no local trust symbols. You get to your website and it feels like you're almost like a franchise invested from someone outside of the state just putting up a site. Make sure you have local trust symbols. Are you part of a local chamber of commerce, a local B&B? Do you give back to local sports groups? Are your kids involved in local schools, plays? Do you donate locally? Like, make sure there's local trust built, because people want to invest and keep money generally in their own community, especially if they're building a house. They want to make sure that Builder Joe is someone that they can actually run into, at a local gas station and say, hey man, the house has been great. Or, hey man, I got this problem. Can you help me solve it? So connect locally with your customers. Make sure you don't avoid the mistake of not putting any local trust symbols on your website. And the fifth mistake is this: owners hide behind a brand. It's like, who owns this? Whose company is this? Who is, such and such construction company actually owned by? So make sure you put yourself out there a little bit. We've talked with brand owners who say, I'm just not willing to kind of be the face of my brand. I'd rather the logo and kind of the company name be the face. And they come back to us a year later saying, guys, all right, I got to try this. I got to put my name out there. And right away, it starts converting better, because customers like to work with people more than they like to work with brands. With people, there's accountability. With brands, there's big promises and not always follow through. So make sure if you're the owner, you don't make the mistake of hiding behind your brand. Put yourself out there, connect with your people. Look, building a construction company website is easy if you've got the experts working for you that understand the industry. But it's also very easy to make these mistakes. So we hope that our tips on the 3 ways that you can build a brand that's found by Google are helpful, or maybe you've read our article on the top 10 ways to build the best construction company website. That can be really helpful. But at the end of the day, if you're trying to build a construction company website that's found and trusted, the 4 C's we offer on connecting, making sure that you convert, making sure that you confirm that you can, and that you coach people through. Check out that article, because you can build a great construction company website. Make sure that you do your research along the way, and we'll see you online.